Welcome back.
Hey, George. It's been a while since I last talked to you, came on your show. So a lot has changed. My team has exploded. We actually had our first $100,000 month last month, which was crazy. I think it was like $99,000 and change or something like that. But yeah, we did phenomenal last month, which is better than I expected. I thought honestly this month would be a little bit slower than normal, but no, it just started accelerating. So the last time I was on here, I think I broke down, how I was doing all of my real estate work. And by the way, my name's Andy Coleman. I'm a realtor with eXp Realty for those of you guys that don't know me. And yeah, last time I broke down everything that I was doing for real estate, right? I was a solo agent last time I talked to you. I don't think I was doing any kind of teamwork back then. And I was doing everything alone, right? So I was doing really good. I had done about 500 deals in my first 3 years of doing real estate and made about $1 million in net commission. That's take home. I'm with eXp Realty, so I'm an Icon agent, so we get 100% commission at that point, and they give us back 16 grand. That's a whole other story though. But yeah, basically I was killing it. I was crushing it, doing really, really well. First year, about 80K in commission. Second year, about 250K. Third year, about $510,000 in commission. And then this year, at the very beginning of the year, I actually expanded and developed a team. So I brought on other agents. I don't know, did I talk about that at all, my plans for doing that last time?
We were talking a little bit about starting up a team because you had been doing everything on your own for so long. And then you finally decided, okay, let's take it to the next level. Let's get a few more people involved. And that's about where you were when we last spoke. You were just getting started with it.
Yeah. So this is exciting then because now I have a whole entire team. Now listen, I'm still new to real estate. I've only been doing this 3.5 years, so all of my success has come very, very quickly. And I don't recommend you start up a team if you're just beginning. I think you should take your time. And in my opinion, I think you have to do at least a couple $100,000 in income before you can start teaching other people. So I waited even further than that. I waited until I had my first $500,000 year, until I was okay, I can inspire confidence in other people so they can now work, under me, for me, with me, and help me out, and help them out at the same time. Here's the thing. So when you start up a team, you're going to have to train them. In the very beginning, you're probably not going to make as much money, even for the first 6 months, maybe even year. You might not make as much money because you're going to be spending time training them. They're going to be making mistakes, In my mind, you have to give something up to get to the next level. So I kind of pushed it off because I was happy what I was doing. I was succeeding very well. I was growing and growing and growing, tripling, doubling my income every single year. And I was do I really want to take a step back? But yes, you have to. You have to take a step back before you could take 2 steps forward. You can't do everything as a solo individual. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're running your own, restaurant business, if you're doing real estate. I don't care if you're an accountant, a lawyer, whatever you're doing. I don't care what company you own. Maybe you're making products. Maybe you're importing products from China and selling them on Amazon, FBA. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You're only one person and you could only do so much. There's only so much time in the day for you to accomplish certain tasks, right? So you have to allocate other tasks to other people. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get as much done. That's what I learned at the beginning of the year was, hey, I gotta take a step back. I gotta start training some other people. I gotta bring people on board. I gotta give up some money and I gotta lose some deals in order to scale up and get to the next level. So it ended up working really well, way better than I expected. I truly thought this year was gonna suck for me. I did about 510,000 last year, and I thought this year I was gonna do 100 grand. I thought I was gonna take a massive step back, but no, that's not true. Like I said before, we just had about $100,000 a month. Now, in my case, I do have to split that with other people, so I didn't net 100 grand. I got to calculate it out. I think it was, it was obviously a lot less than that, but I still am making way more than I thought, a lot sooner than I thought. So I'll even take you back to the first month I did this. This was February. So my first 2 months, we were mainly training, right? February was, actually, no, sorry. Let me take that back even further. So in January, I started interviewing agents, right? Interviewing people and started building my team. And then February, I started training them, okay? And then in March, we started doing like a little bit of deals where I was kind of like testing them out a little bit, wasn't giving them like full responsibilities. And then in April, that's when I really was like, okay, these guys know what they're doing now. I can trust them, they're experienced now. Obviously only, a month or two of experience, but that's okay. And April was our first month where we really got going. Now, as a realtor, I'm doing rental deals as a realtor. In our last podcast, I kind of discussed how I was doing that, where I was making about $50,000 every single month on doing rental deals, working with renters. So, go back and watch that, or check me out on YouTube. It's just Andy Coleman on YouTube, or my Instagram at the Andy Coleman. You can see, I explain my process on how I'm doing my rental deals and how I'm doing this well, working with renters as a real estate agent. But yeah, so basically our first month, we only did about, I think it was 25 deals, which is like only, so I thought we were going to do a little bit more, but we did about 25 deals in our first month, which is still not that bad. Our average commission was still right around $2,000 per deal. So we brought in about 50 grand. But again, I had to split the commission with them, so now I'm paying people and now I'm not bringing in as much money myself. But we're learning, we're expanding. We're starting to do more and more and more every single month. And that's what happened in May. So after April, we get into May, and I believe we did about 32 deals, if I'm not mistaken. So, we gradually climbed a little bit, right around like a $65,000 a month. But then June, which was last month, that's when we really started to take off. And obviously this is relatively new to us as well, but we did about $100,000 in commission. And I think it was right around, I want to say 40-ish deals, 45 deals, something like that. I got to go back and look at my numbers, but we did about like 45 deals just after 2 months of setting the team up, which is like, it just blew my mind. And I'll tell you how we did it. So most of those deals ended up being rental deals, but we got a couple house sales with that as well. So with the house sale deals, obviously a house sale deal, if anybody's not familiar with real estate, you make about 2.5%, 3%, of the commission. So let's just say it's $1 million home, hypothetically, and you're making 3% of that, that's $30,000, right? That wasn't our deals. But yeah, we did like, a couple big deals where we got, $10,000, $15,000 for the house sales. And then we did a bunch of rentals. I think we did at least was close to like 35, 40 rentals, something like that. I got to go back and check my numbers, but our month was absolutely fantastic. I can't even wait to see what happens this month because we're on track to replicate the same thing over again. So that was the biggest change, and the biggest thing I learned this year was I'm only one person and you're only one person. Everybody's only one person. You have to delegate tasks to other people, and you have to trust other people and share responsibilities. That's the only way to scale up. Before this, I had never had $100,000 a month before. I never broke six figures in 1 month. And the way I did it was having a team and trusting other people.
Wow. Yeah, so that must have been a big step for you because you were working just completely solo for a long time. Was it quite hard to get to a place mentally where you were trusting other people with that part of your business?
Yes, it was. Yeah, that's a great question, man, because yes. So I'm the type of person that's like, nobody can do it as good as me. You know what I mean? Like I'm a perfectionist. I'm OCD. I'm really just like, all right, if I'm going to trust somebody else, they're going to make mistakes. They're not going to do it the way I want them to do it. So yeah, I did put it off for as long as possible. That's why I realistically, I probably could have created a team a year sooner, after I had my 250K year. I probably could have done it then. Cause I think at that point, you still are inspiring and have confidence, like, hey, come and work with me, come and work for me, and I can teach you and I can show you the way. So I did put it off a little bit because, as you just said, that trust that you have to have when you're sharing these responsibilities and trying to get another person to replicate exactly what you're doing. You could do as much training as you want. You can sit them down there for 5 hours a day, and still at the end of the day, if a situation pops up and you're not there, they might handle it differently and you might lose a deal. Just like I was saying before, like in the first couple months, I'm sure I could have done a lot better if I was just doing it, alone. Even when I was training them, and doing like a little test month, I was losing time on that and not doing as many deals that I was doing previously. So yeah, I had to give up a good few months before I finally started doing as well or better than I was before. So the trust issue, that is huge. The way I solved that and kind of got around that was I was like, all right, I was actually watching like podcasts. I can't remember who it was. It might have been not Glenn Sanford. It might have been Grant Cardone. I think it was actually Grant Cardone, or what's that other guy he works with? I can't remember his name right now, but it will come to me in a second. But yeah, it was something what he said about taking 2 steps back, or taking 1 step back to take 2 steps forward, and that you have to give something up to get to the next level. And once I realized that, I was like, okay, I do have to trust people. So I interviewed people, and I found the right fit. So for me in real estate, finding the right fit was somebody that didn't really have too many other responsibilities outside of work. If you know what I mean there, somebody that had the free time, that, really could put in the time and effort that I was putting in to actually be able to keep up with the same volume that I was doing. So yeah, once I did that and I just let go of my, trust issues, it worked. And we're good friends now, and we have a really good system going, and everything's working really well.
I'm happy to hear that. What was the screening process like to finding these people? Like, what kind of requirements were you looking for? Was the bar very, very high?
Yeah, I don't know how much I should go into, because I had tried out, other people before I settled on who I'm working with now. So, it just didn't work out for various reasons. I don't know how much, I want to go into on that, but they just didn't have the time. They didn't have the energy. They didn't have the work ethic. That's what it mainly is, like the time, the energy, and the work ethic. That's the big three, in my opinion. That's what you're looking for. You want somebody that aligns with your beliefs and your mindset, and that has the same drive and ambition and goals as you. If you don't have somebody that has those same goals, they're not going to do as well. They're going to half-ass it. They're going to be lazy. They're going to take shortcuts, they're going to cut corners, that kind of stuff. And it's not going to work out, because then you're going to be pissed. You're going to get mad. You're going to want to, do things yourself. And then you're going to be back in the same cycle of doing things yourself again. So yeah, those are the big three for me is, basically somebody with ambition, really good drive and work ethic, and somebody that has time. Because in my industry, you're dealing with a lot of different clients, and a lot of sales. It's a sales job. It's real estate, so it's sales basically. Even though you're not really selling anything, you're just selling yourself. You really want to have time to work with clients. You might have somebody reach out to you at 8 o'clock at night, and if you're not, capable to pick up the phone at 8 o'clock at night, they're gonna find somebody else who is. So that was a big thing for me.
Good point. So, as far as I can remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were in your 20s, you weren't quite as driven and as motivated as you are today. Now your work ethic is ridiculously high. You never stop. You hardly sleep, and you're always working, trying to build the business. What changed for you? What was the turning point there to becoming who you are now?
Yeah, great question, man, because my 20s, I actually did a YouTube video on this, look it up. I think it's called I wasted my 20s. I squandered away 10 years of my life, in my opinion. So if you're out there watching right now or listening, if you're in your 20s or even your 30s, honestly, it doesn't matter what age you are. It's never too late to change. Take control of the situation. So I was personally smoking way too much weed back then. So that was not great, because it was making me lazy, unmotivated. And I was actually doing relatively decent, low six figures, maybe making 100, 150 grand a year. At that point, running my own companies and stuff. But I wasn't pushing and motivated. Even in my first year of doing real estate, it was the same kind of thing. I wasn't really pushing, wasn't really super motivated in my first year of real estate. It really took in my second year, and that's what I kind of want to get into is my aha moment. I had a moment, I think I might have mentioned this before, I'll just refresh your memory. I was in the shower with my girlfriend, and she was looking at me, and she was like, hey, I noticed that, she had just moved in with me at the time, so she's seeing more of my day-to-day and what I'm doing every single day with work, and she was like, I noticed you're playing video games at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to the pool and tanning and going swimming at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a random Wednesday. She's like, what are you doing? She's like, why aren't you working? And I'm like, oh, I do real estate. I can make my own schedule. I can do whatever the hell I want, right? And she was like, no. She's like, yeah, but you could. But she's like, how successful do you want to be? And I'm like, I want to be rich. I want to be very successful. And she's like, do you think you're going to get that successful by doing that? And I thought about it, and I'm like, no, I'm probably not going to get successful doing that. And then she told me, this was something that stuck with me. She was like, I want you to make more money than me. And at that time, I was like, wait a minute, are you like a gold digger? Like, what's going on here? But no, she didn't mean it like that. She just meant it that she wanted me to put all my effort into it. She didn't want me to be sitting, inside on my couch playing video games in the afternoon when I should be working, right? She wanted me to be trying, okay? That's what she was really getting after. She wanted me to be putting in effort, and I wasn't really putting in that much effort before. She wanted me to maximize my potential. I wasn't doing it. So once she told me this, once we had that conversation, it literally clicked. That was like the defining moment in my life that drove me to the success. It was her. I honestly owe it all to her. She's the one who like snapped me out of it. Like, do this, and you will succeed. And it worked. And all I had to change was just putting in my time and effort into the task that I was doing. Like I said, I don't care what you're doing. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You could have a company, you could have an ice cream shop, you could have a shop where you're making rubber bands, I don't care what it is, whatever business that you're running right now, put in that extra time and effort, pay attention to those small minor details, put your blood, sweat, and tears into this. Do this every second you're awake. Obviously not every second you're awake. You got to take some time for yourself. You don't want to burn out, but you know what I'm saying.
Work as
when
hard
you're not
as you
sleeping,
can
you're
without
working.
killing yourself. I think
Exactly.
Elon Musk said something along these lines, like when he was waking up and going to sleep in his office floor, he was like, the piece of advice he had was like, work as much as you physically can, because that's how you're going to get the most benefits out of everything. You only reap what you sow.
Yeah, that's great that you brought up, Elon Musk, because I actually just saw an interview with him, and he was saying something like, obviously he runs a million companies. He's one of the richest, smartest,
Really?
most successful people of our generation. And he was like, I barely sleep. He's like, I sleep like, 5-6 hours a night. He's like, because I have too much work to do. He's like, I have too much to get done. And he loves what he do. He loves what he does. So when you love what you do, and I love doing real estate, when you love what you do, it's not really work. Like, you're doing your hobby. You're doing something that you're passionate about. So that's another thing too. You got to find something you're passionate about. You can't be spending 16 hours a day, every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, doing something that you hate. That's not going to work, because then you'll burn out way faster. You're going to make excuses. You're not going to want to do it. So finding something that you love, I know as cliche as that is, it's true. It's so true. You have to find something you love doing. Even Mr. Beast. So I was just listening to Mr. Beast, one of the biggest YouTubers, if not the biggest of our generation right now. I think he has, 150 million subscribers, something like that, right? He was just saying, hey, I'm even thinking about not sleeping an extra hour per night. He's like, then I would have an extra, 7 hours per week, an extra, 32 hours or 28 hours per month, blah, blah, blah. He's like, then I would get even more work done. That would be an extra video I can do. So he says the same thing too. Mr. B says the same thing. You gotta be working nonstop. He was like, I tried to take breaks and I tried to take vacations, but he said that it made him more stressed out, okay? And Mr. Beast, as you guys know, most successful YouTuber, probably bringing in, who the hell knows? He could probably be worth $100 billion right now if he sold everything. The guy's on top of the world, and he doesn't even know how much he's worth, but he says the same thing that I'm saying right now. He tried to take breaks, he tried to take vacations, and it stressed him out even more, because in his mind, he thought that he could be doing work and he's wasting his time right now, like for him, because he loves what he's doing, working was fun for him. So like, maybe taking a break every once in a while to watch like, a cartoon show, a movie, go play mini golf, go to the shooting range, go, take a drive, like whatever you want to do. Spend time with your loved ones, your kids, whatever. I don't care what you do. Just take a little bit of a breather every once in a while. Obviously, that's very healthy. Like for me, I get the exact same feeling as Mr. Beast does. If I'm not working, I feel like I'm not doing something. I feel like I'm not being productive. So I don't like taking too much time off. I have a funny story. So I was at the movies, this maybe like a month or two ago. I was at the movies with my girlfriend, and it was like a midday movie. I'm a big Marvel nerd, so I love like Marvel and everything Marvel related. So I think it was like I honestly can't remember. Maybe it was Guardians of the Galaxy or one of those movies that had just come out. And I did like a 3:00 showing on like a Friday afternoon. And I remember I was super excited for the movie. I was sitting there watching the movie. I had finished all like my text messages, tried to get everything done, to that point. And then I put my phone on silent, right, for like 3 hours, whatever. The movie's really long. And I really enjoyed the movie. I had a great time. I was loving it, because those kind of things, they kind of like take you out of reality and put you into a place where you turn your mind off. And for me, that's a really good like rejuvenation method to where I can like, calm down and relax and really kind of like reset my batteries. But afterwards, after the movie was done, I look at my phone. I have like 40 text messages. I had like 10 missed phone calls, like 30 emails, and I was like, holy shit. Like I got a wave of panic. I got I didn't really get like a serious panic attack, but I got like a panic attack. I was like this wave of it. I just remember my girlfriend looked at me. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, not really." Like I just got a wave of anxiety because I had just been like, I turned myself off. It was like, mid-afternoon. I should have been working normally, and all of a sudden I look at my phone and I'm like, holy crap, how am I going to catch up to all this? It's like, it's like 6:00 at night now. I got to go eat dinner. We had dinner reservations. And I'm like, I can't even catch up to all this right now. And these people rely on me. These are my clients that are working with me. These are other agents that are relying on me to get deals done, like to get a roof over their head. Like people are relying on me right now. Again, I don't care what business you're in. If you're Elon Musk, people are relying on him to make cars and go to the moon and Mars and, build tunnels and stuff. Like they're relying on you. It doesn't matter what business you're in. They're relying on you. So if you take that time off like that and then you go and look at your phone or your computer, your emails, and you're like, oh my God, now I'm overwhelmed. So for me, yeah, like I get more stressed out when I do take prolonged breaks like that, as opposed to just like work. So I don't know. I'm a weird one. I don't advise that for anybody. Like if it makes you feel right, do it. You know what I mean? Like you'll know what feels right and what feels wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. It just depends what kind of life you want to live. Like if you want to be the center of your business and the person that people come to, that everybody relies on, then you have to live up to that. You made your bed, so you're going to have to live in it. It might not be completely ideal, because I believe Elon Musk, if he wants to take like an afternoon off, people can step in charge and help him out with that, cover his bases. And I think you're getting to a point where you'll be able to do that at some point, because you've only recently got this massive team. Well, I don't know how big it is, but you've only recently got.
It's not even massive.
Yeah, exactly. It's a small team, but you've only just got to that point where you're delegating tasks. So of course you're going to be overwhelmed, and I'm sure it's not forever that you'll be stressed out in that way. But I totally relate to you with not wanting to have time off though, because I'll have like an afternoon free, and then someone in my house will be like, "Oh, are you having a day off?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. Why would I want to have a day off? Like I do what I love every single day, even if that means I get like a couple of hours to myself. Like I don't think I ever have a day off. And the last time I had like a couple of days off, I went down to Bristol to see a couple of friends, and what did I end up doing? I was just drinking and like doing degenerate stuff and sort of wasting my time a little bit, and I didn't feel good after that weekend away. I was just like, well, I kind of just spent a lot of money and spent my health, and I didn't progress my business in any way. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to take some time off.
Exactly. Like if you're trying to change your situation, you know what I mean? Like let's say right now you're working a 9-to-5 job that you hate, you can't stand it. You're going in every single morning. You got a boss breathing down your neck. You got to clock in, clock out. You got to be there. You're always being watched. Everybody's telling you what to do, and you don't like what you're doing. Maybe it's time for a change. Whatever it is, whatever you want to do, find your passion. Like what are your hobbies? Like what do you enjoy doing? Like find something that you enjoy doing, and then you can go all in. Then you will start feeling like George just said. You'll start feeling that like anxiety and that like almost depression from taking time off like that, because you're not doing what needs to get done to excel yourself. And that's what I did in my early 20s. When I was in my early 20s, I was doing exactly what you did. And I was taking days off all the time. I was going out drinking, partying, smoking weed. Like, it wasn't great. I was doing normal things that, like normal kids would do and stuff. And obviously, my experiences when I was younger made me the person I am today. So it's like, if I can go back in the time machine, would I really change anything? Who the heck knows? But I know I would at least have tried a lot harder and learned a lot of the life lessons that hopefully that, everybody else can learn right now. I wouldn't have made those mistakes, but, we're all human and we all make mistakes. But yeah, if you're struggling right now and you're in some kind of situation where you don't like being, maybe you can't even afford to pay your bills, you live in paycheck to paycheck, make a change. It all starts with a change. You have to take a leap of faith and you have to trust yourself. That's really where it begins. And for me too, because I got into a brand new career in a brand new state. I had never done real estate before. I had just moved to Florida like 2 years prior, and I got into a brand new career and I trusted myself. I knew if I put my mind to something, I would succeed, and it worked. Once I started putting maximum effort, 100% effort into it, I started succeeding at the highest level. Today, if you look me up on Florida production leaderboards for eXp Realty, I'm ranked number 2 out of like 88,000 agents in the entire country for eXp Realty by deals done. And I did that within my first 3 years of being in real estate, which is phenomenal, So like my whole point and message is if you have any kind of goals, it's never too late to go out there and try, just put your mind to it and you can succeed. We're all human. We all eat the same food, breathe the same air, drink the same water. So we can all do the same things. Nobody's better than anybody else. It's about the time and effort and motivation that you have. If you put in all of your time and effort into one task and you do it smart and you're doing your research and your homework and you're learning new things, always got to be learning new things and you're trying new things, don't be afraid to fail. Obviously you will succeed. You're destined to succeed. There's people out there that say this, that, if you talk about a certain thing all the time, let's say this, I want to give you a negative example, right? Let's say you're talking about video games all the time. Let's say you do a completely different, industry for your job. All right. Let's just say you're a pastry chef, okay. And you're talking about video games all the time. Maybe you hate being a pastry chef. Maybe you should start doing something with video games, become a video game developer, start your own, YouTube channel reviewing video games. Like whatever it is, do something that you're passionate about. The things that you're always talking about all the time, that's the things that's going to be on your mind, and that's what you're going to want to focus on. So, if you're always talking about a certain thing, how could you not succeed in that certain thing? But if you're not doing it, then you'll never succeed in it because you're not doing it. You're wasting your time doing something else that you hate. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. A small counter, or just something I'd add to that, is some people will talk about starting a business like a lot, and they will that's all they'll do is talk. So you want to supplement that talking with action. And it's like you say, if you're talking about video games all day and you're really good at it, then maybe you want to go into doing that professionally. But yeah, that's going to come with planning and deciding, okay, this is something I want to do.
And what I said before, taking a step back, you know what I mean? Because you can't just get into something brand new and expect to be at the top right away, right? So that's the whole thing I said before. Actually, I remember the name was Ryan Pineda. Hope I said that right. But yeah, Ryan Pineda said, Ryan Pineda's a YouTuber, and business owner, and I think he had some meetings with Grant Cardone, and that's my saying that I said before about having to take one step back, give something up, and take 2 steps forward, that kind of thing. That came from him actually, and I just remembered it right now. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you have to go into a new career and start something new, yes, you're gonna have to give something up, or else how are you going to get to the next level? It's impossible because you cannot keep maintaining what you're doing because you're spending your time doing that now. That's why you have to actually go and take a leap of faith. And, maybe if you're in a job that you hate right now, maybe, get a second part-time job, right? And start making some extra money and start saving up. And right, the way you do this is because you want to actually have money saved up so you can live for, let's say, 3 months, 6 months, however long it is. So you can actually live and have wages saved up so you don't have to actually struggle and, you're able to afford your bills, because that's the worst thing in the world. Let's say you're not able to afford your bills anymore. If you're trying like a new venture or trying something new, that's the worst thing in the world. So, the smart thing to do about that is like you said before, prep and prepare. It might be taking a second job, or it might be finding a side hustle, and then saving up money so you can actually live off that money you saved up. So when you do try something new, you're not going to be, evicted from your house, or you're going to be able to afford to pay, for food and for dinner and everything like that, and put clothes on your back and things like that. So like, yes, I think that's a wise thing to do if you are trying something new, is plan and prepare and save up money. That's going to be your biggest thing, is saving up money, right? You always want to have a safety blanket of, in my opinion, I like having 1 year saved up, at least 1 year of expenses. Let's say you're spending $50,000 every single year, what's that, like $5,000 every single month? You want to have at least $50,000 saved up. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people say that's probably too much. Maybe you only want to have 6 months or 3 months saved up, however long you think it's going to take to start bringing in income from your new venture. But yeah, that's very important, is be smart with your money. You don't want to get in a situation where you can't afford to pay your bills. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So as long as you plan and prepare, how are you going to fail?
How are you going to fail? Well, personally, I'd think having a year is too much, only because when I decided to do what I'm doing now, which is social media marketing, I had like less than a month left of my savings when I bought this course that taught me basically everything I needed to know. Basically got me a mentor and taught me everything I needed. And I spent like the last of my savings on that. And I grew such an attachment to making what I'm doing work from that, because of it was so desperate. I was like, I have to make this work. This is my only chance. Otherwise, what am I going to do? I always knew like I could just go back to my old job or whatever, but I would have a little bit of debt, and I didn't want to do that, because I'd stepped away and I'd been like, this is what I'm doing now. This is me. So yeah, I'm like a sort of creative type, though. Like, we love the struggling artist in like this sort of space, but what you're saying is much more sensible and realistic. So yeah, having like at least 6 months to a year saved up is definitely better, and work like your life.
I like what you said, though, actually. Yeah, but I like what you said, though, and I see why you're saying like a year might be too much, because then you have a safety net to fall back on. Like a year, that's a lot of time, right? So you might not, work as hard, because in the back of your mind, oh, I have another, 11 months, 10 months, as you're getting down of like savings left off. So you might not work as hard, depending on your mentality. So yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. Necessity breeds success, okay? If you have a necessity to do something, you will become more successful, because you need to do it. It's not a want at that point. It's a need, like you have to get this done, or else your life depends on it. You're going to be homeless. You're not going to have food. You're going to have no water to drink, no clothes. Like, you might become homeless on the street if you don't get this done. So those kind of situations, even in my life, every time, I've really kind of like, propelled myself to the next little level, it typically came from something bad happening. And in my mind, I needed to get this done. I needed to make this work, or else, bad, like really terrible and bad things would happen. So yeah, I think that's like a human emotion. It's like built into our DNA ever since we were like, cave people. It comes out of like survival of the fittest, like life or death. Like obviously sometimes it's not that serious. You might have things to fall back on, like you said, like you have a job, you might have your parents, but those are just crutches. Those are crutches that's going to hold you back. So yeah, I always like to say, necessity breeds success.
Gotcha. Unfortunately, I'm actually really, really busy today. So I've got another podcast I'm filming in about 20 minutes. So we're going to have to cut it short today.
We'll wrap it up. Yeah.
We'll wrap it up. It's been a real pleasure having you on again, Andy. Yeah. You are full of knowledge and wisdom, and you could talk for about 3 hours if I let you.
I could talk a lot, yeah. I also want to go, before we go here. So what I did start doing, and now I think this is really important for any business owner, any person right now that's trying to get ahead, of social media. That's a big thing that I started doing this year that I wasn't doing last time I talked to you. I started making YouTube videos. I started getting on Instagram, TikToks. I started doing social media, and it's really helped. In my particular business, I'm a real estate agent, so I want to build a team. I want to bring agents in under me, things like that. So this has helped spread my message message, and now I'm able to teach other agents how to succeed at the highest level, just like me, just using social media, just making YouTube videos, just making Instagram reels, things like that, TikToks, so I think, if you're a business owner and, maybe you're like struggling right now to get your message out there, your marketing out there, try social media, start making videos, start making YouTube videos. That's another avenue to success that a lot of people don't talk about, is doing things like that. I personally love YouTube. Subscribe to my channel, like my videos, drop a comment and everything, because that really helped bring me to the next level again. Like, everything you're doing in life, as long as you're prospering and you're doing things to better your life, you're going to get to the next level. You're going to keep going up and up and up and up, and everything you do is going to make you succeed. So yeah, George, thank you so much for having me on. I know you have to go. Everybody follow me on Instagram. It's at the Andy Coleman. Like I said before, YouTube, it's just Andy Coleman. Like and subscribe. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Thank you guys so much.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, Andy. It's been a pleasure.